Wendy Ansley here, kinesiology professor at College of the Desert. I want to welcome you to our practice today. When I was designing this practice, I wanted to share something with you that for me, often when I'm on my yoga mat, I'm nourishing my body, my mind, and my spirit all on this mat, through the postures, through my breath, through my efforts and my thoughts. But what is the spirit, right? What is the spirit in yoga? What is the spirit inside of you? There's many different thoughts on this, but I found something I wanted to share with you. Your spirit is the part of you seeking meaning and purpose. That's one way someone can relate to that. Another way to understand spirit is that it is the part of you drawn to hope, that will never give into despair. The part of you that has to believe in goodness, that has to believe in something more. So to me, on my mat, yoga helps me cultivate my spirituality. It helps me cultivate my meaning, my purpose in life, as well as helping me how to find and connect to hope and goodness. Just wanted to share that with you guys today, my little message for you today. So know that you can cultivate that spirit again through our breath and our efforts. Breathe into that, embrace that. As we fold our hands in Anjali Mudra, let's just take a moment and set our own personal and meaningful intention for our practice today. Honor this intention with our efforts today, our thoughts, our breath, and ride. Good. So we have a well-balanced sequence today. We're going to start in one of my favorite poses, wide-legged child's pose. So big toes touching, wide in the knees, palms about shoulder width apart, and we're going to rest the forehead onto the ground. I like to do that to kind of lengthen the cervical vertebrae. And what we're going to do, we're going to inhale and exhale through the nose, creating length in the spine, beginning the journey of nourishing our body, our mind, and our spirit. Out of this pose, but know that you can always come into the pose if you need to, a child's pose if you need to take a little break. Into our tabletop, hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. I like to touch my toes when I'm in here. Connect to movement here. We're going to inhale, tailbone out, chest forward. Exhale, round down. Inhale, look up. Exhale, push into the ground, round the back. Inhale, tailbone in. Exhale, tailbone comes back in. Inhale, chest forward. Exhale, round back. Inhale, look up, exaggerate. Exhale, round the back. Come into just a neutral tabletop here. Let's walk those palms forward a few inches, leading with the hips. Come into our first Adho Mukha, down dog. Heel and toe, heel and toe. Come into a static hold of our down dog. Let's press through the palms. Shoulders down the back rib. And breathe into those hamstrings. use the breath. Inhale positivity, exhale negativity. Nourishing the spirit. Transition on the exhale, come into our plank here. Round the upper back. Press through the palms, press those heels back. Connect to the breath, several breaths here. Core awakening. Belly button to the spine, active legs. Gently lower knee, chest and chin to the ground at the same time. Shoulder blades down the back ribs, elbows up, tailbone up. Knee, chest and chin on the ground at the same time. Transition to easy cobra, press of the palms, press of the tops of the feet, shoulders down the back ribs, tuck the chin in just slightly, awakening the lower back. Transition back to all fours here. Dynamic cat and cow again. Inhale, tailbone. Exhale, round. Inhale, look up. Exhale, push into the ground, round the back. Inhale, look up. Exhale, push into the ground. Inhale, look up. Exhale, round the back. Good. Neutral tabletop here. Awakening the shoulders and the back a little bit more. We're going to inhale, we're going to draw that right arm. On the exhale, we're threading the needle here. Resting the shoulder to the ground and resting the right ear to the ground if we can. Simply inhale, exhale through the nose. To all fours. Inhale, draw that left arm up. Exhale, thread the left arm, rest the left shoulder to the ground, rest the left ear. Inhale, exhale through the nose. Releasing the shoulder, releasing the back. We'll stay here several breaths. Release, come to all fours. Walk the palms forward, another shoulder release here. Puppy dog. We're going to rest the forehead to the ground. Draw the shoulders down the back ribs. Anahatasana, puppy dog. Inhale, exhale through the nose. We're keeping the hips over the knees. Some of you will stay here. Some of you may lower now your chest and chin to the ground. Tailbone is out. And what are we doing? We're breathing. We're releasing the shoulders. Nourishing the spirit. Searching for hope. Searching for goodness. Transition. Come to all fours. Let's walk the hands forward just a little bit. A little dynamic here, down dog. Take those hips and sashay them side to side. Now take those heels, widen them. And draw those inner thighs so they spiral back. Firm the thighs. Press through those palms. Evenly draw length in the spine. Root under those index fingers as well. Broaden the shoulders. Shoulder blades down the back, belly button to the spine. Really spiral those inner thighs back. Transition into Phalakasana here. Belly button to the spine, round the upper back. Lower knee, chest, and chin to the ground at the same time. Transition into easy cobra. Feet are hip width apart. Press through the palms. Draw the shoulders down the back. Gently release. Lower the forehead to the ground. Walk those hands back, and I like to press my hands into the ground in Salabhasana here. My feet are going to come together. And this is going to be a back awakening. I'm going to press through my palms. I'm going to lift the legs, active legs. Draw the shoulders down the back. Lift the chest off the ground, preparing my back for the practice here. Active legs, inner thighs still spiral back. Press through those palms. Bring the sternum and the chest forward. Shoulders down the back. Stay here several breaths. Gently release, lower the forehead to the ground. Hands by the chest, into all fours. Drop those hips back, come into down dog. Let's do a little down dog, maybe with a spinal wave here. So it originates from the lower spine, up through the mid-thoracic, through the cervical. We just do a little spinal release. And doing static hold, Adho Mukha. Preparing for our practice. My hands slightly turn outward. My fingers, my index fingers are really parallel. I'm pressing through those palms evenly. Belly button to the spine, tailbone back and down. Breathe into any stiffness, any pain, and try to lower the heels a little closer to the ground. Really breathe into those hamstrings. Walk the hands and the feet together simultaneously the same time. Inhale, sternum and chest forward, halfway lift either to the shins, the thighs, to the ground. Shoulder blades down the back ribs. Exhale, come into our first forward fold, heel and toe. Heel and toe. The forward fold. Let's take those tops of the hands, press them to the ground, and rock side to side. Fingers come towards one another and rock side to side. Fingers move away from one another and rock side to side. Inhale, swan dive up, open the chest, open the heart. Exhale, heart center. Beautiful. It's wonderful for me to kind of share this practice with you today. Students mean so much to me, and I enjoy creating these sequences for you. We're gonna come into Malasana, a pose that really opens up. It actually rotates and opens up the hips and really prepares us for our practice. If you want the block for beginners, I'll start off with that and then we may move that. The feet are just a little bit wider than hip width apart, turned out about 45 degrees. We root through the four corners and want to activate those arches. That's called Pada Bandha. Activate those legs, and we're going to need to activate our Mula Bandha, the pelvic floor muscles. Let's do a cleansing breath together. We're going to inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, draw those arms up. Exhale, come to Malasana here. And it's here that I like to, that's if you need the block, right? I like to press my knees into my elbows, get my elbows into my knees, draw length in the spine so I'm not slumping forward. Broaden the collarbone, shoulders down the back. We're going to inhale, exhale into any stiffness. Nourishing that spirit, nourishing hope, nourishing purpose, and goodness. I'm mirroring you, so you're going to draw your right arm up, your left hand to the ground. Create a little bit of spinal length. Come back to Malasana. Draw the left arm up. Come into Malasana. Shoulder blades down the back ribs. Maybe take those hands outside of the toes here and work on lengthening those hamstrings. If we can, we're going to straighten those legs. And come back down. Straighten those legs. And come back down. Beautiful. 3 more. Straighten. Come back down. Beautiful. So straighten. Inhale, look up. 1 more. Straighten the legs. On the inhale, look up. Come back to Malasana. Inhale, rise. So that's a little mobility, moving without our hands and our knees. Beautiful. I'm going to adjust this a little bit so you can see me better. Coming into Tadasana. Activate those arches. Draw the shoulders down the back ribs, ears in line again with the shoulders. Active legs. Imagine standing like this. Confidence. We're going to add a little hop as we come into our Prasarita stance, our 5-point star. Feet are pointed straight ahead. Rotate those big toes in slightly and press outer edges of the feet. Draw the shoulders down the back ribs here. Draw the elbows towards each other. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, come forward. Hands directly under the shoulders. Gaze forward. Concave back. Tuck the chin in just slightly. Breathe into those hamstrings. Now walk those hands back farther here. Walk those hands back, draw the shoulder blades down the back ribs, continue to press outer edges of the feet. Hands on the hips, belly button to the spine. Inhale, rise. Goddess pose, heels turn in, feet are 45 to 60 degrees apart. And we're going to sink into goddess pose. We're going to strengthen every muscle in our lower body. I like to take my Jana Mudra, my thumb and index fingers, Press inside the knees. Create length in my tailbone, length in my spine. Shoulders down the back ribs. Broaden the collarbones. We're gonna stay here a little bit of time, inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Inhale, rise. Cleansing breath. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. I'm mirroring you here. So you're gonna turn your left foot, intersect with heel to heel or heel to arch. And then take the left knee towards the pinky toe. Virabhadrasana 2. Draw the shoulders down the back ribs. Feel that left hip opening, but draw that right thigh back. We'll stay here several breaths. We're gonna grow the pose as we draw the left elbow inside the knee, 6 o'clock arms. Inhale, rise. Again, exhale, extended angle inversion. Inhale, rise. Exhale, again, come into this pose. Allow yourself a little bit of room here. If you can, maybe just a few of you, grow the pose. Press through the back foot, through the hips, through the crown of the head. Rotate top ribs back, bottom ribs forward. And maybe a few of you take the hand to the sacrum and possibly add the bind. Drawing the shoulders down the back ribs. Rotation. Inhale, rise. 5-point star, cleansing breath. Inhale. Exhale. Nourishing the spirit, Virabhadrasana 2. I'm mirroring you. Turn that right foot. Feel that right hip begin to awaken. Draw that thigh back. The heel intersects with the back heel or the heel to the arch. Feel that right hip opening. Grow the pose. On the exhale, draw the elbow or shoulder in. Inhale, rise. Exhale, come into the pose. Inhale, rise. Same thing, exhale. Many of you simply are gonna stay here, acknowledging where you are, beautiful form. Some of you may grow the pose to extended angle, elbow or shoulder inside the knee, leveraging the rotation of the torso. Press through the back foot, through the hips, through the crown of the head. Grow the pose. Some of you hand to the sacrum and come into the bind. Gazing over the shoulder, growing the pose. Inhale, rise. 5-point star. Cleansing breath. Heel toe it in. Beautiful. We're gonna take a block on this one. We're gonna do a little hip mobility into a little core strength. Feet are together, activating the arches in the feet. We're gonna hold the block here, shoulder height here. On the exhale, we're gonna keep ankles, knees, and heels to the ground. Lower, lower, to the ground. That's where we're gonna try to stay, lower to the ground. And I'm gonna come onto my back here, drawing my knees to the chest. We're gonna come into a hollow body hold. Extend the legs, active arms, shoulders off the ground. Press the lower back into the ground. The core is stabilizing here. stable core to eventually connect and come into some arm balances. Stable core, connecting to the arms and the legs. We'll stay here several more breaths. Gently roll it out. Inhale, rise, come up without the hands on the knees, hip mobility. Beautiful. Set the block down. I love those little hollow body holds. Makes me connect to my entire body. Beautiful job, guys. So fun practice today. Coming to the center of the mat, activating those arches, active legs, add a hop. Beautiful 5-point star. Prasarita, this time with a spinal twist. Draw those elbows towards each other, shoulder blades down the back ribs. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, come forward. Hands directly under the shoulders, gaze forward. I'm mirroring you, so you're gonna keep the left hand down. You're gonna draw that right arm up, trying your best to level the hips as well. Eventually taking the right hand to the left hip and gazing over the right shoulder, but leveling the hips the best that we can. Gently release, beautiful spinal twist. Draw the right hand under the face, draw that left arm up, and try your best to kind of level the pelvis. Many of you will just keep the arm up, but if you can, take the left hand to that right hip. Beautiful, and gaze over the left shoulder. Gently release. Hands under the shoulders. Belly button to the spine, hands on the hips. Inhale, root and rise. Heel toe it in. Malasana again, if you want to take the block, you can. Diving into Malasana, the feet are about hip width apart again. It's nice to explore a pose sometimes 2 times. Inhale, draw those arms up. Exhale, come into Malasana here. Press through those elbows into the knees. Draw the shoulders down the back. Adding almost a little bit of a bind here. This time we're going to take the right arm, and the best that we can we take the left arm to meet it? And maybe this is where some of you might utilize a strap to help you get there, okay? To help you connect. We're going to take the right arm and see if we can connect. This is where you might need that strap. Come into the pose and look over that left shoulder. Come into Malasana. Take the left arm and draw, if we can, the right arm to meet it, gazing over that right shoulder. Come into Malasana. Heel toe it in. Beautiful. Cleansing breath. Beautiful. Coming to the edge of the mat here, we're going to add a little bit of a revolved crescent moon into a little twist from that. So we're going to draw, let's root through the four corners of the left foot. I want to do it the best angle I can so you guys can see me on camera. We're going to draw that right leg up, just connecting to our balance. We're going to draw that right hip back. We're coming into crescent moon. This is where we want to draw that right hip forward, that back right hip, then the left hip, connect, crescent moon. Draw the left hand on the hip, the right arm up. Take the right hand, the right elbow, I should say, outside of the left knee. Many of you will simply stay here. Some of you will come into this pose. And the next variation is to grow the pose. And with this, I want to see a little bit of space here as we grow the pose. Draw the top ribs back, bottom ribs forward. Revolved Parvita, Asha Chandrasana, revolved crescent moon. Some of you are going to simply stay here. Another variation is I take my left hand outside the right hip and I come into a bind. Beautiful. Connecting to the back leg, the front leg. Inhale, take the left hand back by the hip and rise. Framing the foot. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, up dog. Draw the shoulders down the back ribs. Exhale, down dog. Lead with those hips. Press through the palms, lengthen the spine. Firm those thighs, heels closer to the ground. Walk the hands and the feet towards each other. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, walk those hands back. Bring the sternum and chest close to the shins. Inhale, open the chest, open the heart. Exhale, heart center. Beautiful. I'm going to come to the center of the mat so you can see me here. Adjust my little sign here. A little namaste sign. Okay. Same thing, revolved crescent moon. This time I'm going to root through the four corners of my right foot. I'm going to draw that left knee up. On the exhale, I'm stepping back into crescent moon. I want to draw that left hip forward. Draw that right hip, and we kind of square those hips. And I want my right knee over my ankle. Right hand, let's come into crescent moon at first here, crescent moon. Come on to the pinky toe of the back leg. Let's come into stages, right hand on the hip. Draw that left elbow and shoulder outside the knee. Many of you, you might just stay here today. This is for hip stability. This is to grow the pose. Eventually, hand to the ground, leverage the chest, grow the pose. Beautiful. Connect to that back leg. Top ribs back, bottom ribs forward. Eventually, right hand to the left hip. Come into the bind. Connect to that back leg. Right hand on the hip. Connect. Crescent moon, beautiful. Frame the foot. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, pull the sternum and chest forward. Broaden the collarbones, pelvis forward, press to the tops of the feet. Exhale, down dog. Connect to down dog, firm those thighs. Belly button to the spine, heels close to the ground. Breathe into any stiffness, any pain. Walk the hands and the feet towards each other simultaneously. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Come more to the midfoot. Inhale, swan dive up. Open the chest, open the heart. Exhale, heart center. Beautiful. Taking a block here, come into a little core strength again. A little hip mobility combo. Inhale, extend the block, shoulder width apart. Ankles, knees, and shins are together here. Keep the heels on the ground as we exhale, doing the best that we can. Keep the heels onto the ground. This is another form of malasana. Eventually, we come onto our backs, draw the knees to the chest, block to the knees, and lengthen. Lower back to the ground, shoulders off the ground, legs off the ground, lower back to the ground. We'll stay here a while, connecting core strength, hollow body hold. Again, lower back onto the ground. Stay here several more breaths. Inhale, we're going to rise. Root and rise. Beautiful. Great job. I enjoy doing our L handstand with you guys every once in a while, okay? So we're gonna take, and I especially like doing it after those hollow body holds because we've connected to the core. Now can the core help us connect to our arms and our legs and come into stabilization? So sitting back again, how long are my legs? Okay, I'm gonna take a block to wherever my legs are. And we're gonna do this L handstand hold to strengthen our upper body too and connect more to the core. So here we are, we take our hands to right at this level here. And we're gonna do our best. Again, if you wanna take a wide-legged child's pose, if you feel uncomfortable, you stay here, okay? But this can be safe in many ways. We've warmed up our wrists, we've warmed up our core. So from here, some of you might just simply be right here today. But here you are, you're first looking at your hands. Now I want you to gaze at that wall, chest and shoulders engage. Then look back at the hands, and we're going to stay here a while, and L handstand hold. I'm maybe pressing into my index fingers, almost lifting them a bit. Mindfully, slowly coming out. Maybe taking those hands, They touch here, and we're just gonna kind of rock forward and back, giving ourselves a little wrist relief. Into a hold here. Put all your weight into it. Some of you might be able to keep the heels together and almost come into a down dog here. Stay here several breaths. Always connecting, strengthening the hands, strengthening the wrists. Beautiful. Taking the straps here, we're going to connect and come into a standing balancing pose. On this pose, it's like we're doing I actually don't need a strap. I'm just kind of utilizing that for somebody that might need a strap, okay? So I really don't need one, but everybody's different. It's almost like a side scale, but we're gonna come into a bind. So I'm mirroring you. You're gonna root through the four corners of the left leg. You're going to draw that right leg up, and I want you to draw that left femur head in this balancing pose. Beautiful. Engage the quadriceps. It's here that you take that right arm and think about, some of you will simply stay right here, but think about coming into the bind and eventually clasping the fingers or the strap if you need it. Draw that left femur head in, draw the shoulders down the back ribs, connect to that standing foot. Gently release. Cleansing breath. Rooting through the four corners now of the right foot. We're gonna make sure this right femur head is in. We're gonna draw that left leg up. Some of you that might utilize that strap, you're gonna take the left arm. Eventually, interlace the fingers or the strap, broaden the collarbones, root through the standing foot of the right foot. Create length in the spine. Gently release. Cleansing breath. Beautiful. One of my favorite poses to release my hamstrings, my lower back, it actually makes me feel really good, is Supta Hasta Padangustasana. Lying down, foot to hand pose. Supta Hasta Padangustasana. Lying down, foot to hand pose. It's almost miraculously the way it relieves the hamstrings, the psoas, and helps relieve and make you feel better in your lower back. Some of you will need a strap and some of you will not, okay? So I'll demonstrate it first. I'm gonna draw my right leg up, and for some of you that are gonna need the strap, you're gonna simply hold here, trying to get a little, maybe a flexion in the foot, a little release. We call this almost like a perfect 90-degree angle here. Okay, and you're going to come into this pose, and some of you can come into it rather easier. Okay, so we're releasing the hamstrings. Breathing into the hamstrings. I like to place my left hand almost on my left hip to really make sure my pelvis is broad, and I'm kind of stretching it evenly. So I'm stretching, when the pelvis is broad, it's like evenly in the lower back. And I'm gonna gently come to the side. Some of you may have the strap. I like to rest my elbow to the ground, still keep the back of the pelvis broad, We'll stay here a while. We're going to draw that right leg up. Take the outer edge of the right foot with the left hand. Come over to the side. Gaze over that shoulder. Press the arm down. We'll stay here a while. Beautiful. It's a beautiful spinal twist. Gently release. Draw both knees to the chest, just slightly. Extend that right leg straight. Some of you may take that strap now and adjust that left foot, trying to get into this 90 degrees. I like to take my thumb and index because I've practiced enough. Press my right hand on my right hip, and a little bit of a flexion in that left foot. Will stay here a while. Breathing into those hamstrings. Gently come over to the left, rest the elbow to the ground. Draw that left leg up. Clasp outer edge of the left foot. Come onto the right hip. And extend that left arm. Gaze over the left shoulder. Releasing the upper and middle part of our back. Gently release. Draw both knees to the chest. Clasp around the shins. Create length in the spine, tailbone to the ground. Gently release. Roll it out. Come up to the front. Gomukhasana here. We're going to open up those external rotators here towards the end of our practice, but also connect to our shoulders, most importantly. Gomukhasana is a little bit challenging pose to get into, and we may have to do some variations. So I'm gonna mirror you. We're gonna draw that right leg up, and you're gonna take that left foot, the left ankle on top of the knee here. We're gonna stay here several breaths. And this is where some of you are just gonna simply, if you can't do the next pose, you're gonna come back to this beautiful pose, breathing into this opening of the left hip. But some of you now, again, I'm mirroring you, is the left leg over the right leg, and often we come forward in life, and then we also take some steps back. This is where some of you may need to kind of sit to a block, on a block, the best that you can, and just breathe into these hips. Gomukhasana, this is kind of healing, and it's a light little flexion really of both feet, breathing into those hips. And now we're gonna take almost the opposite arm really. It's the right arm, opposite of the leg here. And we're gonna intricately come into this pose. This is shoulder therapy. Some of you might need that strap here, okay? We're gonna draw the right fingers down the back. And then you guys are gonna take your left thumb, and you're either gonna come up to the strap, the best that you can, and connect here. Or we can try to touch those fingers. And this is where we take the head, we press it into the back of the arm, but tuck the chin in just slightly, breathing into the hips, staying here a while. Beautiful posture that connects our entire body. Some of you, to dive into this pose a little bit more, I like to take my forehead, my block to the ground here, and just kind of rest my forehead to the ground. So I'm inhaling, creating length, leading with the chest. As I come forward, resting my forehead to the block, and staying here a while. Breathing into those outer hips. Inhale, rise. Release. And now I'm going to mirror you again. Some of you are going to take your right foot this time, place it on top of the left knee, and breathe into that right hip as you draw the right knee forward. Many of you will simply stay in this pose. The next variation is we're going to draw the right leg over the left leg. And again, I come forward and back, forward and back. This is where some of us might need the block, help us come into the pose, relax. Is what these props are designed for. We're into this pose, which is a beautiful hip opener. Now, intricately coming into our entire body, because yoga's connected. These postures, every one of them connects to our entire body. It's beautiful. So now we're going to take the opposite here. I'm going to draw my left arm up and guide the hands down the back. And then take my right arm Turn the thumbs up and either take the strap, clasp the strap, or eventually clasp the fingers. Beautiful. Resting my head into the back of the left arm, tucking the chin in just slightly, breathing into this beautiful, intricate posture. Gently release. Beautiful. Really opened up those hips a little bit. From here, let's come into Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, a glute bridge. And in glute bridge, we're really preparing our spine for success, I like to say. Just really prepping. It's a preparatory, beautiful preparatory, and also beginning an advanced pose. The feet are hip width apart. I like to rotate those big toes in slightly. My heels next to the buttocks here. Inhale, I create length. Exhale, I press into the feet, and I think about getting my sacrum towards the knees. A beginning variation is my hands to the hips, but if I can, I interlace my fingers and I come up high on my shoulders, broaden in the collarbones, continue to press to the feet, and yet sending the sacrum to the knees. Again, big toes rotated in, and eventually sternum towards the chin. Come out of this pose, we releve up on the balls of the feet, arms over the head, and gently lower one vertebrae at a time. Beautiful. You have the option, Setu Bandha again, glute bridge again. For some of you that have Urdhva Dhanurasana in your practice, same thing, feet are hip width apart. We rotate those big toes in slightly. The fingers point towards the shoulders. Elbows are in line with the shoulders. Inhale, we create length. Exhale, we press up, eventually trying to get the shoulders over the wrists. Rotate those big toes in slightly. Press into the palms. Create length into the spine. We'll stay here several breaths. Gently release. Same thing, feet are hip width apart. Rotate those big toes in slightly. Hands aligned with those elbows, point the fingers towards the shoulders. Inhale, create length. Press into the pose. Again, eventually working on shoulders over the wrists. Create length, sacrum towards the knees. I'm pretty flexible. Every once in a while, I like walking my hands towards my feet a little bit more, and then sometimes I like to come up on the balls of the feet and just a little bit of pressure off my lower back. Gently release. Draw the knees towards the chest. Lengthen the spine. Both knees over to the right. Extend that left shoulder to the ground. Releasing the upper and middle part of the back, just connecting, releasing the back from the back bend. Draw both knees to the chest. Guide both knees over to the left. Stack the knees. Extend that right shoulder to the ground. Gaze over the right shoulder. Gently release. Beautiful. Coming into a forward fold here. We're either going to take the strap. For some of you, you like to take the strap as you come into the outer edges of the feet and just allow yourself your best to come forward. And this is where we also think about the hips. We root through the sitting bones, but we draw the pelvis forward. We call that a slight anterior rotation of the pelvis to draw you forward. I like to take my block to keep outer edges of my feet coming back. Engage my quadriceps and come forward. Inhale, we draw those arms up. Exhale, come forward. We'll do the first one where we're just going to hold here several breaths. Inhale, rise, belly button to the spine. Cleansing breath. Inhale through the nose. Exhale. Let's do this next one and hold a little bit longer. Inhale, create length. Exhale, bring the sternum and the chest forward 2 inches, 4 inches. Keep reaching, 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 and come into a hold here. Outer edges of the feet coming back. Engage the quadriceps. Release the hamstrings. Inhale, rise. And regeneration here is going to occur as we come into Shavasana, truly letting everything go. Coming into this well-deserved rest. Sometimes I like to rest the palms. I often come up high a little bit on the shoulders. Shoulder blades, nestle them into the ground. Relax my hands, relax my feet. I relax my jaw, relax my face muscles. I truly just try to let everything go. starting to come out of our Shavasana, little movements in your fingers and toes. Gently bend the knees. Put the right arm over the head. Use the left hand to press yourself up. Reflecting back on your own individual attention of your intention for your practice today. Now look up. The light in me recognizes the light in you. Namaste. Hopefully, you had an opportunity, right, through that practice to nourish your spirit, to search for hope, kindness, goodness, and how we respond and we treat others. But the spirit resides in each one of us. Be aware of it, cultivate it, breathe into it.